here think about the, was it Maryland, the state of Maryland, that just decided they're going to do all paper voting? One of the states in the East Coast just decided that, I heard like 4 weeks ago.
Florida has moved towards
all paper voting.
And Maryland.
That's
Maryland,
really
that's what it was.
Maryland
Maryland
has
did.
tossed out millions and millions of dollars worth of Diebold touchscreen paperless voting. Just voted them clean out.
Now, we're using Sequoia. Is Sequoia a part of Diebold?
No,
a
no,
subset
no,
of
but they're
Diebold?
both checked out by the same test labs. They're competitors. Sequoia has about a number 3 market share. Diebold and ES&S share first place.
Okay.
So Sequoia is trailing them by a little bit. But they all share a foundation on Microsoft security products with known poor security. And that's another thing. The biggest election software vendor in America is not Diebold, ES&S, Sequoia, Hardin, or Civic. It's Microsoft. Because their stuff is at the core of all the other vendors' systems, and they all share a lot of the same security flaws for that reason.
And excuse me for being technically unsavvy, but you're saying Microsoft is probably the poorest at compared to other. I mean, what other computer?
Ever get a virus?
It's a combination.
Say that
of
again.
things.
Ever get a virus?
Oh yeah, no, I'm just asking. Who is
Okay.
better at security?
Well, there's 2 issues here. As far as operating systems go, I would say Microsoft Windows is a very poor choice as a security platform. But not only that, these vendors, a lot of them have chosen to use the least secure Microsoft products available. For example, Microsoft Access. Microsoft will tell you it's a consumer-grade database. It should not be used for anything high security or very serious. And in fact, they're actually phasing it out. Microsoft has an SQL database line that is better. It's actually halfway decent as databases go. Sequoia uses that in one part of their product line, but then opens it up to Microsoft Access in other parts of the product line. Diebold centered their entire operation around Microsoft Access, the worst of the Microsoft products. So it's a combination of things. But one of the issues, every time we suggest opening up the source code of voting systems to review, Microsoft comes down with their lobbyists like a ton of bricks. Because in order to open up the source code of how a voting machine works, you have to switch to something like a FreeBSD or Linux operating system base instead of Windows. And Microsoft does not want to see their operating system supplanted by another one in order to improve security in any situation, because they're fighting a battle over their Windows operating system.
It's important to answer this lady's question. She asked about what we think about paper ballots, in Maryland. As a matter of fact, that is really the solution. That's the only transparent method of counting.
But they still have to have a good auditing process.
Yes.
Let me get a comment from either one of you, though, on that that's not interrupted, just because I
Yes. And in fact, in 2001, MIT and Caltech did a study in the aftermath of the Florida fiasco in 2000, and their study concluded that out of the 5 methods of counting ballots in the previous 4 presidential elections, that manually counted paper ballots had the highest degree of accuracy of counting. So this is the thing, you don't have to worry about viruses when you're dealing with paper ballots. You don't have to worry about whether or not you can see how the votes are counted.
You don't have to worry about dimpled chads?
Well, we've mostly gotten rid of Chads and we've gone to ink on paper.
Right.
Which is better.
And those punch card ballots were never actually designed to be hand counted. They can be, but there's a whole other system of problems with the IBM punch cards, and that was well documented back as far as 1988 by a journalist named Ronnie Duggar, who did the first extensive study of computerized voting in 1988. And back then, they knew that with one computer punch card, they could add 10,000 votes to a candidate's totals. That was in 1988, and certainly we've come a long way technologically since that time. So there are a myriad of ways that the vote count can be altered and it's not detectable. That's the problem.
Dan, can you tell me your last name? I missed it when
Yes, it's Gutenkaf. Gutenkopf.
Okay. And your title or your association?
I am a private citizen, I am a legal researcher, and I am affiliated with Citizens for a Fair Vote Count. Their website is votefraud.org.
He's also with the Election Defense Alliance as of a couple of days ago.
Yes, and I've been networking with a number of other groups, ACER, Arizona's,
Citizens for Election Reform.
for Citizens for Election
Tell
Reform.
me that website again, if you don't mind.
Votefraud.org. And a lot of my research over the last number of years is available on that website.
We also have the case on Pima County, all filmed. You can watch all the excerpts of testimony. You can see where a guy was paid $70,000 to go back and audit the last 4 bond elections by the precinct. Now, I'm saying by the precinct. And then on this bond election, the Yes Committee paid him another $13,000, okay? And we can go through, we've gone through the database, not completely, but we're at the point right now that we can show you how the hack looked like it happened. Even possibly demonstrate part of it.
Tell me your name.
John Brakey,
Brakey,
and
B-R.
with a group called Americans United for Democracy, Integrity, and Transparency in Elections. And I'm also with the Election Defense Alliance and co-coordinator of investigations with Dr. David Griscom, which is a national group.
Are you holding a meeting any further than this, or were you holding this? I hate to be steering what you guys are doing, I just wanted to capture the
No, we
gist of
think it's
it.
very important you keep asking questions, and you can go ahead and help us get this out.
So, has anybody approached Secretary Brewer? I asked Senator Johnson if she had, but she said she had not yet. Have you approached and you've been rebuffed? What's been the...
We have,
We actually filed a complaint with Attorney General Goddard. There's a procedure for making a complaint against a private government vendor that commits fraud against the government. So we've actually followed that process and filed a complaint with the Attorney General's office. I know he's shared that with Goddard. He's shared that with Jan Brewer. Then Jan Brewer went and officially questioned Maricopa County as to the legality and status of the Sequoia product line. Now that's crazy because Maricopa County doesn't have any of the certification manuals or any of the proper documentation to make a judgment of that type. Brewer, in her handoff of the issue through Joe Camefield, he did a handoff to Maricopa County. Well, that was just buck passing. He should have gone and talked to the federal bureaucrats at the Election Assistance Commission, or gone and talked to Sequoia themselves and said, you know, where's your certification reports, what's the certification status? You know, he could have got some kind of an answer off of them or off of the Election Assistance Commission in Washington, D.C. But instead of talking to them, people who could answer somewhat authoritatively, he went and talked to Maricopa County, the one people who don't have certification reports. So they were trying to steer the whole question into a dead end.
So
we're
basically,
going to have to go around Brewer.
basically, they went to the county and said, write yourself a certification and give it to me, and we'll pass it on to Dr. Tom Ryan, me, and Carol Corsica, because we filed a FOIL, a records request, November 21st. And after so many months investigating and understanding the whole process that they were doing. And we've been monitoring things for quite a while up here on elections, going back as far as the primary of 2004 with LD20 and what happened in that trial, and that, which is very well documented, and that the lying that was done to the judge.
So where are you saying we go next? You're saying go around Jan Brewer?
Well,
Jim, are you
Yes.
saying go around her?
The next, actually, one next step would be to file a civil consumer protection action against Sequoia, alleging that they've committed fraud against the state of Arizona and Maricopa County and City of Phoenix as well, in the sale of a product that legally needed certification.
And Jan Brewer just as a dead end, I mean, what do you suspect? And I know you've explained it already, but if you can tell me in a sentence, what do you
One
expect would
sentence.
happen if we went to Jan Brewer?
25 words or less.